My preview and predictions for 2023 Texas Pro, featuring days out updates from Hunter Labrada, Carlos Thomas Jr., and how good will Andrew Jacked be? What's up, Desktopers? Xavier Wills here for Desktop Bodybuilding, and we are back for another video and a contest preview with the 2023 Texas Pro being held this weekend. I will be going live all weekend, the pre-judging on Friday and Saturday, and the finals obviously on both days as well. So there'll be 4 lives coming at you guys minimum, with maybe some lives as well for those post-show wrap-ups. So let's get straight into this one. I'm going to go from 5th all the way up to 1st and break down some of these recent updates from these guys too. So let's get into it. In 5th place, I have Jonathan Withers. Now, I was weighing up whether to put this guy in 5th or 4th. Now, I really don't know how it's going to play out, but his conditioning looks really, really good. Cannot wait to see what he looks like on stage in his pro debut. He turned pro a couple of years ago now. He needed to bring up the upper body to match those insane legs. And I think he's done that to a certain extent. Now, is his upper body going to be matching or close to matching his legs? It might be somewhat close, but it's definitely going to still be behind those legs, because those legs are probably some of the best on the planet. And if his upper body matched it, he would be, top 5 Mr. Olympia, no doubt. But the upper body has come up. His conditioning will definitely help him and put him up some places as well. Can he battle for a top 3 position if one of these guys misses the mark? Potentially, but I probably see him in that 4th to 5th place position. You guys can let me know what you think in the comments as well, and let me know your predictions as I go through this too. In 4th place, I have a man who just came off a 3rd place finish, and a guy I hadn't really heard of before until just before that contest, and that's Lewis Breed. Looking really, really damn good. I believe it was in Tampa where Hunter competed, where he placed 3rd. Placed right behind John De La Rosa and Hunter Labrada, so he beat out some really good competitors like Joel Thomas, and really probably an all-time best Joel Thomas, and that Joel Thomas qualified for Mr. Olympia just last year as well. So Lewis Breed is definitely one on the rise, and if he can continue to add more muscle to his physique, he's only going to move up in places as well. So really impressed with his, well, I don't know if it's his pro debut or not, but with his appearance in Tampa. Now in 3rd place, and I want to say I got something wrong as well. So Carlos Thomas Jr. posted up a video just the other day, and by the caption that was left by the videographer, it did sound like that video was from 1 week out of a Texas Pro. I was slightly concerned about the conditioning. I was like, is it just not showing up in the video? There is a certain level of conditioning there. Is it water? Is it because he's got ulcerative colitis that he's holding some fluid and maybe not been able to get in insane shape? Carlos actually went on his IG as well and said there's a video been floating around, people thinking I'm 1 week out, and it is not, so you can hear him here.
Hey, what's up, guys? So, quick PSA. If you see a video floating around and I'm posing, and it's me going through some rounds in my purple posing trunks, that is not recent, guys. That is 5 to 6 weeks ago. So, if you want to see something a little bit more recent, click to the next story.
So Carlos put that to bed, and the update he's talking about is this one here on screen. So you can see here, he's definitely in better shape than he was in that video. You can see the lines in the glute there. The leg from the side is just so massive and huge, and he's posing there in the original Metroflex gym, the one that made Ronnie Coleman and Branch Warren famous, and those guys came up in that gym, and it's cool to see him in that legendary gym as well, where actually Martin Fitzwater trains a lot nowadays. And definitely better conditioning. We can't see everything here though. We just can't see the level of conditioning. The leg from the side, while the glutes are in and there is separation between that hamstring and the quad, you don't really know if that conditioning is going to be grainy and hard, what we really want to see from Carlos Thomas Jr., but definitely looks harder in this picture. But the photos from a little bit further out, so it's a little bit harder to tell. So it still leaves plenty of intrigue to see how conditioned Carlos Thomas Jr. will be. But he is a contender, and if he brings it to the stage and that conditioning is spot on, he's able to pull out a little bit of water and come in really sharp, he can definitely win this show. I have no doubts about it, even though I am predicting him in 3rd, just because he's not as a known commodity as a Hunter Labrada or an Andrew Jacked. We just saw Hunter look his all-time best just 2 weeks ago. Andrew Jack's coming off a 3rd place at the Arnold Classic, which is incredibly impressive. And from all reports, he's looking better now. So it's hard to say Carlos Thomas Jr. will just come in here and wipe the show and beat these sort of top 5 level Mr. Olympia competitors. But is it a possibility? Do I want to see it happen? Absolutely, 100%. Now, this is the latest update here from Hunter Labrada, just days out of that Texas Pro. And I actually did hear on a podcast, Justin Shire said that he didn't have any carbs in, I think, the last 36 hours or so, or 40 hours or whatever it was, prior to that Tampa Pro victory. The reason being is they carved him up a little bit earlier and he actually spilled over a little bit. So he spilled over and they had to pull it right back, and then what he brought to the stage was his all-time best. So was it an actual good approach for Hunter Labrada? Maybe it was. Maybe it worked out for the best for him, but apparently that wasn't his all-time peak. It wasn't his very best. So is he able to bring it better this weekend? Or leaving the carb up to later, will he carb up, hold fluid, and that will be his look on stage if they leave it a little bit later? It's hard to say because Hunter strikes me as a guy that's sort of hard to peak. Many shows I've noticed where he looks really great a week out, 2 weeks out, and when he gets on stage and there just seems to be that film of water. So maybe what they did in Tampa accidentally was the best thing for his physique. It's going to remain to be seen, and I can't wait to hear from Ben Chow and Hunter post Texas Pro as well. Obviously, depending how he looks, whether he misses it or hits the mark perfectly on the head. I can't wait to hear what they actually did in terms of their approaches to getting on stage and what actually worked and what didn't. And I think the fact that he did sort of, mess it up to an extent at Tampa while he looked sensational on stage, and this is from what Justin Shire said, it makes it exciting to see what they might bring to this show. And I think it's a really valuable show for him to do so they can learn that body a little bit more, because Hunter has only competed, I believe, 11 times in his entire life. That's not just as a pro, that's full stop. 11 contests is what he's done. I mean, even I've done more contests than that. So he has plenty to learn, and I can't wait to see what he brings this weekend. So I will say as well, I actually did do a podcast just within the last 20 hours, and that will be up after this video. It's a Bodybuilding University episode where we did our predictions. And also in that video as well, I did put that video of Carlos Thomas Jr. in there and said it was a week out. It is not. So if you do watch that podcast, just be aware of that. And I did predict Hunter Labrada to win in that podcast, and that's how split I am on this contest. But I've sort of thought about it a little bit more, and I thought, who's going to really stand out on stage? And that man that I think will stand out is Andrew Jacked. Because in a lineup of guys that, there's no real tall guys in this lineup, I think he's just going to stand out so much. He's going to have such a huge stature that I think that will be an advantage for Andrew Jacked in this particular lineup. Come Olympia time, when he's got guys like Samson Dowda, Mikael Krizo, and those guys to stand next to, he's got more comparisons, and I think it will sort of work against him a little bit more on an Olympia lineup. But in this one, I think Andrew Jacked might be really something special here. And if he does beat Hunter Labrada, an all-time best Hunter Labrada, a guy who's finished as high as 4th in the Olympia, not being as good as he was at Tampa, that is huge for Andrew Jacked, and he would qualify for the 2023 Mr. Olympia. And the other reason I am predicting Andrew Jacked to actually win this is because if it's 50-50, whether it's true, not true, whatever, if it's 50-50, split down the middle in terms of fan opinion, will they give it to Andrew Jacked because they want to see him on the Mr. Olympia stage? I don't know if that's a thing or not. Some people say 100%. Some people say no way it's a thing. It's whoever's best on that day, which it definitely should be. But would he actually get the nod and qualify for Mr. Olympia? Because there's no direct shows that are super convenient for Andrew Jacked to do after this if he doesn't win. Because we've got some European shows, but they're a few weeks away. And then we've got the Legion, but that's not until October. So that could hamper his Olympia prep somewhat. So I think that Andrew Jacked will win this one, but it will by no means be a runaway victory. And if it is, it would be very exciting as well, because that would sort of lead to people saying, can Andrew Jacked win the 2023 Mr. Olympia? Chris Zito, his coach, has said that he's about 5 pounds bigger. If he comes in the same shape and 5 pounds bigger from the Arnold Classic, that's a very, very good version of Andrew Jacked. And it was good enough for 3rd place at the Arnold Classic. And some people even debated that he should have won that show as well. I actually put a poll up on the desktop bodybuilding community tab, and almost 5,000 votes. I only put it up yesterday, not even 24 hours ago. And 52% of you say that Andrew Jacked is going to win the 2023 Texas Pro. 42% say Hunter Labrada, and only 6% saying Carlos Thomas Jr. After that guest posing, I think many more people were saying Carlos would win that. I think sort of based off that video that went up and was shared by Nick Strength and Power, myself and other people, maybe that sort of changed some people's opinions, thinking that Carlos isn't hard enough. But he is 30 my predictions, but I think he could definitely still win as well. So maybe 6% is a little bit under and very close. Only 10% difference between Hunter Labrada and Andrew Jack. So it makes for a very interesting contest. I cannot wait for it. Like I said, I'll be live all this weekend. I'll be getting some of the guys from Bodybuilding University on as well on some of those lives. So join in, ask your questions, and interact with us. It would be really, really fun. And you'll be finding out all the results here first as well. There is a live stream for this weekend's contest, I believe, and I'll put the link to that in the description below so you guys can jump on there, buy that, and support bodybuilding. Anyway, guys, that's it for this one. If you did enjoy this video, give the video a thumbs up, smash that like button, also subscribe and hit the notification bell button. That way you'll be notified of every video that goes up from myself, Xavier Wills, here at Desktop Bodybuilding, and all my coverage of the 2023 Texas Pro. Anyway, guys, that's it for me. I'm Xavier Wills. This is Desktop Bodybuilding, and we are out.